Hello, entrepreneurs. This is Joe DeChara bringing you another fantastic version of How to Win at Business. I am a business entrepreneur, CPA slash trainer. And what I do, let me back up a second. People have been asking me to describe what I do because I am a CPA. I have over 35 years experience, but I always felt like that just, put me into a box, into a corner, and didn't really fully describe uh, not only what I do, but how I want to be viewed and how I want to serve people. And today I was in a little mastermind group, and somebody said something that really resonated with me. And it was basically, holiday in the world. Uh, and it's not all about the money. The money, what I learned, is a result of what comes before that. So as going forward, the way that I am going to describe what I do, my 30-second commercial, is that I am a business trainer. I love teaching people about business, and I love making it fun and easy to understand. And just as to be transparent here, I want you to understand, I want you to know that I am doing this because I want to connect with you. I want to attract people into my sales funnel, the right people, small business owners. I've spent 35 years working specifically with the smallest of small business owners, and that includes people that just have an idea to start a business, or they're what we call solo-preneurs, and those are single owner entities. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. So the name is Joe DeChara. I am a business trainer, entrepreneur with a CPA license, and I make business as fun and simple as possible so that you, the entrepreneur, the new business owner, can actually do business. Business is tough. Let's face it. Business was tough before they invented the IRS, before there was an internal revenue code. And why was it tough? Because, first you had to find something to sell. You either had to make it, you had to buy it, you had to provide services. And so that's not easy. Then once you have something, then you got to find somebody to buy it. Okay, and then you got to deal with competition and delivery and logistics and all that other stuff. Put into the equation the tax laws, and not only the tax laws, but the state and local regulations, the licensing requirements. It's insane. It is really insane. And even with my years of experience working with thousands of business owners, it's still confusing for me. And this is my business. And so what do? I get a new client in Los Angeles. I incorporate them. I do everything that I'm supposed to do based on my experience. And then I take it a step further now. I do some research. And it turns out if you're doing business in the city of Los Angeles, you have to have a business license, a separate business license beyond the certificate of incorporation or your DBA or however you're doing business. So I understand this. I understand that it's complicated. I don't understand how anybody could just start a business on their own. And the truth is that the sad fact is that most businesses try it on their own. And I can tell you that based on the facts. The fact is that out of 30 million businesses, 25 million are still classified as sole proprietors, which if you're a CPA, you'll know that that makes absolutely no sense. What that is a huge pool of prospects for the informed accountant, the accountant that knows a little bit about marketing. You know, and I've engulfed myself in marketing knowledge and activities because that's where I was weak in. You know, I didn't have a problem figuring out how to do bookkeeping and setting up accounting systems for new businesses. That wasn't where I fell short in my business. So what I did was I went out and I found experts, and I found people that were a lot smarter than me in marketing and sales, and I've gotten a lot better at it. You know, this platform is a big part of it. You know, learning how to get in front of the camera, speaking to people, my tonality. You know, I'm still really rough around the edges, but that's me. That's me. And you know, the idea of starting a business on your own has to be, let's say, very frightening for people. It's got to be scary. It could also be the greatest thing that you ever did in your life. It could be unbelievably fruitful. It can give you independence and freedom. You know, like me, 15 years ago, I decided that I did not want to be stuck in a cubicle. I did not want to be an 85-year-old CPA trudging to the office during tax season and, you know, being a paper pusher. And that was me because, to be honest with you, I was born to be an entrepreneur. I was born to be in business. I'm sure of that. As far back as when I was 10, and I wind up telling the story just about every night. But, you know, some people are just born to do stuff. And what happens is we get caught up along the way by life, by different, you know, obstacles, by different goals and stuff that other people expect us to do. And so I was tricked into becoming a CPA by my father when I was 17. He didn't really trick me. What he did was he planted a seed, and he said that CPAs run businesses. And that's what I wanted to do. And I never thought twice about it. When all of my friends were changing their majors, trying to figure out what they wanted to be when they grew up, I stuck with my CPA journey. And it only took me 5.5 years to get a 4-year degree because I had a great experience in college, and I wanted to extend it. But that's a whole nother story. But the truth is that I wanted to become a CPA because I wanted to be in business. And I had no idea that meant that I was going to be an accountant. And I talk about this a lot. And so my mindset was not in alignment with my objective, or if that makes sense. You know, what I was doing to make a living was not what I intended, or at least what I thought that I intended. And so tonight, what I want to talk about is your journey, because my journey was, you know, I wanted to become a business owner, and little did I know I was a business owner. But I thought I was just an accountant, but I was a business owner. But I wanted to become a business owner because I wanted to make billions of dollars. Not millions, not a lot. I wanted to make billions. And I was taught at a young age that anything is possible. And it is. It is. And today it's more possible than ever. It is easier today to start a business than ever in history. Thanks to technology, thanks to the free flow of information, just teaching today has become an enormous business. So just for starters, I always say that I don't care if you like chasing butterflies in the desert. I could show you how to make money with that. And the easiest way, I'm going to let you in on one of my secrets. The easiest way is to build a course on it. You can build a course on how you chase butterflies in the desert. Okay. And now the funny thing is people might think that you're so out of your mind that they'll buy the course just to see what this is all about. But I'm getting off the subject. And the subject is I am going to give you 3 guaranteed steps to helping you find the money. And that's another thing I was told today in the mastermind. You never know where the lightning bolts are going to strike, where and when. And one of the lessons I learned is that you got to show up. You got to show up. You got to be consistent. And if you do that, if you're showing up in the right places at the right times, things. But there are no coincidences, folks. I have a friend that he said he always got what he asked for. He always got what he asked for. If he was short of money, he would start praying, God, please get me some money. And lo and behold, there would be $10 sitting in the street. That didn't always happen that way. But the truth is that he always got what he wanted. And the mind is a very powerful instrument, so powerful that we don't even realize what we're capable of. And a lot of times what you're asking for is embedded in your subconscious. And you're asking for stuff based on your actions and your beliefs. And you could be saying, hey, I want to do the right thing. But if your intentions are bad and you're trying to make money the easy way, and you think that's going to happen, you might get money the easy way, like my friend did. But if your intentions aren't good, that money is going to come with bad energy. See, my friend was addicted to drugs. He was a drug addict. And he took that money that came to him from God, and he bought drugs with it. And it almost killed him. And today, he knows when he prays for something, when he asks for something, it's always with good intentions. And I want to talk a little bit about the pandemic that's going on now. I'm not talking about the virus. I am talking about the insanity that is going on right now that started about a month ago when the government started advertising free money. And my friend Pat Wiley and I, basically have the same thought process. And it's that there is no such thing as free money. And if you thought you were going to chime in tonight and I was going to tell you how to apply for the free money, I'm sorry, but that's not what this is about. I'm going to give you 3 guaranteed steps to finding the money. And I'm not talking about free money, because there is no such thing as free money, folks. There is no such thing. And you could look at all the people that won the lottery and how many of them wound up bankrupt, and how many of them would tell you that it was the worst thing that ever happened to them in their lives. How many rock stars and movie stars wind up in drug rehab or dead, killing themselves with alcohol and drugs? They weren't ready for the money. They didn't know the responsibility that that would bring, because it does bring with it a responsibility. Success at any level brings with it responsibility. And for me, that was a big roadblock. That was a huge roadblock for me, because without realizing it, I kept shooting myself in the foot. I kept shooting myself in the foot because I had something called the fear of success. I didn't even know that that was possible. I didn't know it was possible. And the thing is, and I'm being pretty transparent here and raw, but it's important that you know exactly where I'm coming from. But what I was afraid of, it turns out, was having too much money and then having to decide who I would give it to. That sounds insane. That sounds insane. And consciously, I would have told you, there's no way. Give me all the money. I'll figure out who to give it to. It was embedded in me, deep in my subconscious. And I had to peel away all of the layers and get down to what was stopping me from being successful. And last night I did a Facebook Live, and I talk about the things that I learned and the things that I thought would make me successful, and only to learn later on that I had everything backwards. So you see, I thought that learning about being a CPA would teach me about business, and if I knew about business, I would know how to become successful. And for 25 years, I felt like a fish out of water. Okay, because I had all the knowledge. I had worked with thousands of business owners. And for the most part, what I saw was people failing. Not that many people became successful. And stuff that my mother taught me, my grandmother taught me, started resonating. When I was 17, my grandmother looked outside and she saw a bunch of my friends. And they all had long hair, and we were wearing leather jackets. And she said, I don't like those kids you're hanging out with. It's like, Grandma, but those are my friends. I grew up with them. You don't know, they're good kids. So, yeah, but I don't like them. You should find better people to hang out with. Well, 2 years later, 4 of those friends got arrested for armed robbery. A couple of years later, one of them got arrested for manslaughter, and then another one died from a drug overdose. Thank God I listened to my grandmother when I was 19, and I said, you know what? I'm going up to Oswego, New York, and I'm going to finish my college education, get my accounting degree. Because I wasn't surrounding myself with the right people. Not that those guys were bad. They were just on the wrong road. And that was the road that my father saw me going on when I was 17, and he planted the seed to become a CPA. So back to what I want to teach tonight, which is how I'm going to teach you how to find the money. And the road that I took was a long, painful suffering journey that I didn't have to go on. And hopefully with this little bit of information tonight, it might plant a seed in your head, just like being in that little mastermind today just made things click. It just clicked by coincidence. And I got a little bit closer to my goal, which is helping millions of people become successful. And the best way to help people become successful that I've learned is to become successful yourself. I learned that if I could be as successful as possible and I just put myself out there and talk about my journey, that maybe I can help somebody skip over all of the suffering, because let me tell you something, business is tough. Business is tough. If you think you're going to go into business and it's going to be easy, maybe you should think twice about it. Pain is inevitable. There is no way around the hard work and the pain. Suffering is optional. And let me explain what the difference is. The pain is like if you go out for sports and you have to exercise. It's painful. Anyway, it's painful for me. Your muscles ache, you got to put aside time and you got to do it on a regular basis. And who wants to do that? I just want to play baseball or football or basketball. Well, why do I have to exercise? Why do I have to train? Well, that's part of the price that you have to pay. When you go into business, you're going to have to make decisions. You're going to have to take risks. People might ridicule you. Your family might disown you. And all that stuff is painful. It's painful. But as long as you know you're doing the right thing with the right intentions, there is no suffering. When I hit an obstacle, the inevitable obstacle, I don't shy away from it. Neither do any other real entrepreneurs. When I see an obstacle, I see that as an opportunity to grow, make myself better, and make my business better. Do I want to go through the pain like what we're going through right now? No, I don't like I think I'm going on 3 weeks stuck in my apartment. I've been out, walking about 2 or 3 times in the last 3 weeks. I don't like being cooped up. But I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for myself. I've been working more on my business than I have in decades. But let me get back to the 3 points. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time, and I'm not going to fulfill my objective. But also, let me just stop for a second. My friend Pat Wiley gave me a great suggestion, which is to remind you why we're here. And okay, here we are. We are here for me to give you this information so that you can connect with me. And tonight, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into the 3 steps on how to find the money. Okay, and the first thing I want to provide to you is that you don't have to find the money. The money is there. The money is always there. So if you're looking for the money, you can stop looking. The first step is to look in the mirror. The first step to creating a money-making, indestructible business is to take inventory of yourself, to learn as much as you can about yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your superpowers? You know, that's the new term I hear everybody saying. What are your superpowers? One of my superpowers is organization. I could take anything, well, almost anything. But one of my favorite hobbies is untangling Christmas lights. Okay. I am just very good at organizing stuff. And businesses are some of the most disorganized things that have ever been created. So when I get a new client, I can look at all the pieces and I'll know pretty much what order they're supposed to be in and just put them in order. So the first step in finding the money is finding yourself, really. You have to identify where you're great, where your passion is. And that's what you got to focus on. And you know, my friend Sue Brook brought something up in the mastermind today, where she said, you know, she was in one of these big business summits, and they said, you know, where should you be spending your time, on your strengths or your weaknesses? And she said what I thought I was supposed to do. She said your weaknesses. You know, you're supposed to be better. You're supposed to get better in the areas that you're weak in. And no, that's not the right answer. You have to fill the gaps. Like I have not become a marketing expert. I'm not going to go out there and teach people how to market their business. That's not my expertise. What I did was I found experts that taught me the steps so that I could do this. My strengths are in my organization skills, my ability to take somebody's idea and turn it into a business and show them how to make profits. Now, all the other stuff, what I was telling you about, you know, my fear of success and the people I was hanging out with and all of that stuff, that took years. That took years of peeling away the outside and looking inside. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but one of the most effective ways that I employed was Napoleon Hill's exercise on creating your own definite chief aim. And I'm not talking about the one in Think and Grow Rich. I am talking about the exercise in the law of success, and it's a long exercise, and it takes a lot of soul searching. Now, you might need therapy like I did for a long time, you know, to figure out all of the things that are blocking you. And that's what it is. There's things that block us. And, you know, if your objective is to make money, and you really want to make the money and be happy, you got to figure out what the hell is driving you. And a lot of times what's driving us isn't what we think is driving us. So that's the first step. You got to find out who you are, what your strengths are, and focus on those. The next step is to find your avatar, which is another thing that came up today, and Sue put it right. I think I should have had Sue on tonight, but somebody said that your avatar is your marketing segment. No, your marketing segment is a group of people. Your avatar is the person that you want to work with. It can't be everyone. If you're in skincare, you can't say, oh, everyone that has skin is my prospect. You have to define not only who the person is, where they are, what kind of language they speak, and I'm not talking about English, French, or German. I'm talking about uh, their slang. You know, what do they understand? You know, another thing. Sue comes from the South, and she's got one way of saying things, and I'm from New York, and I got another way of saying things. And sometimes I've said things that offended her without knowing it. And then if I said the same thing to one of my friends in the street, they would say, oh, yeah, great. You know, that's the way we talk. So your avatar, you got to be in the same wavelength as your avatar. You got to be able to put yourself in their shoes. And if you're running a business, you got to make sure that they can pay you. Okay, so all of those things that go into the people you want to do business with, not even the people. You have to define your avatar so it's like a living, walking, breathing person. That when you see them walking down the street, you could say, that's the person I want to work with. And that's where I got my business. Now, I have several different avatars, and that's okay, but I have my main avatar, and it doesn't mean that I'm only doing business with that one type of person, but I have several. And all of them speak a different language. They're motivated by different words. They hang out in different Facebook groups. Some of them might be in LinkedIn, some of them might be in Facebook. So once you find your avatar, you need to connect with them. Now, if you're watching this, you're probably one of my avatars. There's a good chance because you're probably on Facebook, you belong to a group, you're watching things that you want to, because you want to improve yourself, you want to find some answers, and you want to learn. Those are some of the characteristics of the people I want to work with. Now, the last step to finding your money is to make sure that the products and services that you're providing fill the needs of that avatar. Fill the needs of that avatar. Remember that. Fill the needs of that avatar. Now, I'm not talking about what they need, but what they want. See, needing something and wanting it are really two different things. I know that people need to have their tax return done. I know that people really need bookkeeping. I don't think anybody ever hired me just to do their tax return or just to do their bookkeeping because they said, hey, you're a great guy. I'd love you to do my taxes. They had a need. Okay. They wanted it. I mean, they had the need, but they also had the desire. Now, I don't even know if I'm explaining this right, but nobody needs to go on a vacation. Okay, but there's plenty of travel agents out there. So if you're a travel agent and you know what your avatar is, let's say it's a young single guy just out of college. Maybe he wants to go to one of those destinations where there's a lot of single women. He's probably not going to want to go to Disneyland. Okay, so I'll use myself as an example. And so I want to work with new and very small business owners. And I provide bookkeeping and tax services. Well, like I just said, nobody really wants that stuff. But, I mean, they need it until it's April 15th, then they want it. Everybody wants it. Well, this year it's July 15th. But what I found that business owners really want is they want direction. They want answers. They want to know how to find the money. And the mindset is, let me find the money and then I'll find a good account. Let me find the money and then I'll find a good account. So for me and my business, that was a problem. That was a problem, because if I really want to help people to become successful and they're waiting to become successful before they can hire me, well, I had to fill that gap. So now my services fit with what my objectives are. My services fit my avatar's needs and what they want. They want the guidance and direction. And by providing that for them through my coaching program, through trainings like this, free paid for articles, books that I've written, by doing that, I attract those avatars into my sales funnel. And some of them hire me to be their coach. Some people hire me to do strategic planning. And then some of them hire me to do their bookkeeping and tax work. But the great thing is that because I've learned this, is they don't have to buy anything from me for me to become successful. As long as I keep providing the information and services that I'm doing at this level, if you're watching this, you may never need me. You may never need my services, but you might know somebody that needs me. And that's what happens. I get a ton of referrals. Not because I'm great at doing tax returns or great at doing bookkeeping or accounting. I'm pretty good at that stuff. But what attracts people to me is the fact that I found some things that people want. They want the direction. They want business to be simple. And that's what I do, folks. So in a nutshell, if you're looking for money, stop looking. The money is going to find you. It's a proven fact. And I talk about the science of getting rich all the time. It's one of the books that changed my perspective on business. And it was all about doing the right thing and doing more than what you get paid for and always showing up. And eventually, the money finds you. Sometimes you could be looking for something and it's right in front of you. There's plenty of money out there. There's plenty of business. There's plenty of opportunities. And no matter how far down the scale you are now, no matter if this pandemic, all this stuff going on in the economy, if it's laid you out, if it's knocked you out, that's only temporary. The dust is going to settle. And I've been saying this from the beginning. If you can get the money from the government, go for it. I have helped plenty of people apply for the SBA stuff and whatever they have coming that they're entitled to, like the unemployment, go for it. But that stuff isn't the solution. That's only going to give you a Band-Aid. That might get you over a month or two of expenses. But if you want to have a business that you love, that you can't wait to get up in the morning to do like I do, then you'll follow some of the things that I'm doing. And it's not easy. It's simple. I can make it simple for you. Nobody's going to make it easy. There is no free money. Okay? That's my story. I'm sticking with it. My name is Joe DiChiara. I would love to connect with you. All you got to do is go to timewithjoe.com. And if my schedule is booked, just go to, you can email me at joe@bedrockbusinessbuilders.com, and I will make the chat happen. So, okay, that's it. Have a great weekend. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with another amazing segment of how to win at business. Thanks.